You're a few months out of a narcissistic relationship and you still don't feel healed. You're doing the work and it still feels wrong, confusing, sometimes worse than before. That's actually not failure. That's actually what healing looks like. And today I'm going to show you why. We're going to explore 7 signs of healing from narcissistic abuse that don't feel like healing. And make sure that you stay until sign number 7, because that's an important one. Sign number 1, you stop trying to understand them and start grieving yourself. This is the one that I wanted to start with because it's the pivot everything else turns on. And I want to share with you what it personally looked like for me. A while into recovery, I was flipping back through my old journal entries. Every single page was about him, what he did, why he did it, trying to understand something that was never going to make sense, no matter how many pages I filled. When I saw that, I felt sad, not empowered, because I realized I had centered my life around someone else. And I had no idea what my own life looked like anymore. That moment didn't feel like healing. It felt like loss. But it was the first time I stopped trying to understand him and started grieving myself. Here's the mechanism. In narcissistic abuse recovery, most survivors spend the early months in an analytical loop. Researching, reading, trying to figure out why it happened, whether they're a narcissist, what made them this way. And that loop is not curiosity. It's actually a trauma response. Your nervous system is trying to create safety by finding an explanation that makes the world feel more predictable again. The problem is that there is no explanation that satisfies it. So the loop keeps on going. When you start to heal, that loop begins to quiet. Not because you found the answer, but because you've started to feel something more important. The weight of what you lost. Your time, your sense of self, the version of you that put your life on hold. When your focus finally comes home to you, that is healing. Sign number 2, you feel emotions you couldn't access before. A lot of survivors describe going numb during the relationship. Not consciously, it's not a choice. It's what your nervous system does when the emotional environment is unpredictable and unsafe. It suppresses. So when you start healing, when your system starts to register that threat is gone, those suppressed emotions start surfacing, and they don't surface quietly. You might cry at things that seem unrelated. You might feel rage that is disproportionate. You might feel grief about things from years ago that have nothing to do with the relationship. It's not regression. It's your nervous system finally processing what it was never safe enough to process while you were in it. These emotions aren't new. They've just been waiting. If you're feeling more, even when what you're feeling is hard, that's your system coming back online. Sign number 3, stillness feels wrong. This one catches people off guard. You spent so long wanting peace, wanting the chaos to stop, and now you have quiet, and it feels super uncomfortable, almost unbearable. You reach for your phone, you replay the conversations, you try to fill the silence. Here's what's happening. A high conflict relationship doesn't just cause stress. It recalibrates your nervous system to treat that level of stimulation as your baseline. Your system comes to expect tension, unpredictability, and the next crisis. When that's gone, calm doesn't register as safe. It registers as the quiet before something goes wrong. So your nervous system keeps scanning. It keeps on bracing. The discomfort you feel in stillness is not proof that you miss the chaos, though that's a real thing we're going to talk about in a separate video. It's your nervous system doing exactly what it was conditioned to do in an environment that no longer exists. Noticing that discomfort, being able to sit in it, even briefly without immediately escaping it, that is the beginning of retraining your nervous system. If what I'm describing is resonating and you want to go deeper than a YouTube video can take you, I have a 5-day challenge, a nervous system reset, inside my community. It's free and specifically built for narcissistic abuse survivors. The link is in the description below. Okay, let's get back into it. Sign number 4. You start questioning who you are. This is the one that scares people the most, and it's also the one that means the most. A few months into recovery, a lot of survivors hit a wall of self-questioning. Not about the relationship, but about themselves. What do I actually like? What do I actually think? What do I actually want? Is any of this mine, or did I build a version of myself that would keep him from leaving? That questioning feels like a crisis, but it is not a crisis. In narcissistic abuse, you adapt. Over time, you learn to monitor their moods, suppress what causes conflict, and shape yourself around what keeps the peace. It's a survival response called fawn adaptation. Your system found the most efficient way to reduce threat. The cost is that your authentic self gets buried under the adapted self. When you start to heal, the adapted self starts to come apart. And underneath it, instead of finding a clear sense of who you are, you find a question mark. And that feels terrifying. But the question mark means the constructed self is dissolving. What comes after it is you, the real version, not the one built for survival. The disorientation is not a sign that you're lost. It's a sign that you're being found and rediscovering yourself. Sign number 5. Healthy feels flat. This is the one to name very directly because it carries a lot of shame. Some survivors find themselves in situations where something genuinely good is available. A kind person, a calm friendship, a slower pace, and it feels like nothing. Like something is missing, and they feel deeply ashamed of that. Here's the biology. The cycle of narcissistic relationships, the tension, cruelty, reconciliation, love bombing, creates a biochemical loop. Dopamine spikes during the highs. Cortisol flows during the lows. Your brain's reward system gets wired to associate that level of intensity with connection. So calm and consistent doesn't produce that spike. Your conditioned brain reads that as being low value. This is not about what you deserve. It's not a permanent trait. It's withdrawal. Your reward system is recalibrating away from a pattern it was trained into. Recognizing it as biology and not a preference is the work that we need to do. Sign number 6, you start pulling back from certain people. As your nervous system begins to regulate, you become more sensitive to dysregulation, including other people's. You may find yourself pulling back from people who live in constant urgency, drama, or frantic energy. Not dramatically, just quietly. You stop having the capacity for it. This is not you becoming cold or antisocial. It's your system getting better at detecting environments that cost you more than they give. That discernment is new. Before, you likely tolerated a lot in relationships, in friendships, in family dynamics, because tolerating was what you knew. The fact that you can now feel the difference between what regulates and what dysregulates you and start acting on that information is great. That is your nervous system coming back online. Sign number 7, you have good days and they unsettle you. This one doesn't get talked about enough. Some survivors start having moments, whole hours, sometimes whole days, where they feel okay, present, even good. And instead of just feeling that, they feel suspicious of it, like it's not allowed, like something bad is coming, like feeling okay means that they're forgetting, and forgetting feels like a betrayal. In a narcissistic relationship, good moments were frequently followed by punishment. The cycle trained your system. Warmth precedes the crash, so brace yourself. Even now, in safety, happiness triggers anticipatory anxiety. The good day itself becomes the threat cue. Letting yourself have the good days anyways, even when your system is bracing itself, is a good thing to practice. It's how you teach your nervous system that safety is real. These 7 signs are showing you that you are healing, even when it doesn't feel like you are. I want to reassure you that this is what healing looks like at the start. It's not relief, not clarity, it's just a turning point. If you're in it right now and it feels messy and confusing and nothing like what you thought healing would look like, you're probably exactly where you need to be. If you're starting to ask who you are on the outside of this relationship, my self-concept reset guide is free and it's written specifically for narcissistic abuse survivors. The link is in the description. And if you'd like to learn more about healing from narcissistic abuse, you can check out this video up here.